What's up, YouTube? This week I am going to review 3,000 Miles to Graceland, starring Kurt Russell, Kevin Costner, Courtney Cox, Christian Slater, Thomas Hayden Church, Howie Long, and, of course, was side performances of Ice-T and John Lovitz as Lovitz, who was the money launderer. Talk about this movie with one of the most epic concepts in movie history. I mean, Elvis impersonators who do a casino heist during an Elvis convention. Talk about some hilarious hijinks and some old epic action scenes. And spoilers ahead, so fair warning. As it goes out like this of how both in story wise, both Kevin Costner's character Tom Murphy and Michael Zane, played by Kurt Russell, were both in prison together. Got out of prison, decided to do this casino job for this guy named Joe. And, of course, with fellow gang members of Bokeem Woodbine, Arquette, and Slater. Talk about in that scene of epic action of when they were robbing the casino. Didn't they get in a shootout with a security in Vegas PD? Talk about an epic shootout. Although for the soundtrack background, tech trance music did not fit. A better song could have been used, like Viva Las Vegas. I mean, soundtrack wise, which is about the only flaw with the movie, of how it should have been more like Elvis type music. After all, it's a movie about Elvis, and I can understand copyright might have been a limitation and all, but still, it's just my own opinion. And of course, even funnier in that scene was just how that old lady was just continuing to play this one-armed bandits while Costner and Russell's guys were in a shootout. And hell, there could have been some epic Elvis type puns of, like, for example, in the scene where one of them, I can't remember which, Costner shoots that Vegas cop for the door to the elevator. He could have said, "Return to sender, mofo." And, of course, the whole scenario of when Murphy betrays the rest of the crew after another horror movie cliche, which is kind of known for both horror, action, and stuff, of the black guy always dies first. Damn. I can say that's one overused cliche. And of course, the ultimate epic cameo of Paul Anka, who wrote the song "My Way" for Sinatra, which we all know Elvis covered. And I could also say, like, surprisingly, Elvis Such a Night and "My Way" is the only Elvis songs actually featured in the soundtrack. I mean, surprised they didn't, like I said, should have used Viva Las Vegas, All Shook Up, and a bunch of other of the King's greatest songs. I mean, come on. And, of course, the old badass 59 Cadillac Kurt Russell drove it throughout the movie, which Costner also drove after screwing over the gang and doing like an old reign of terror. Like, for example, the scene where he kills the gas station attendant, steals some beer and jerky, and, of course, excuse me, nose itching. And of course, that scene when he's pulled over by the cop in the with an old mid-60s car. I can't remember which model right now. Which Also, like one of the most epic duels in movie history of when Costner in his 1911 up against a old redneck sheriff with a Ruger. Talk about one of the greatest duels in, like, boom, great day, huh? And of course, some of the hilarious hijinks of John Lovitz right before Costner whooped his ass. And of course, the chemistry of Courtney Cox and uh, and uh, and Kurt Russell, which I'd say out of Courtney Cox, that was which is her best movie out of movie performances. Talk about epic chemistry between them of where she was Kurt's potential love interest, and of course the final showdown with when when Costner kidnapped Courtney's son, or I say AKA Sybil, and then Kurt Russell has to save the day, only when Thomas Hayden Church who plays a U.S. Marshal on the trail of Murphy, decides to lead a SWAT raid and eventually whoop Costner's ass. Spoiler, sorry for those who hadn't seen it, but hey, you know movies. And of course, another flaw was, despite the reasons why of him putting that 50, when Kurt Russell's character puts the 59 Cadillac in the river, I'm like, dude, you could have just painted it and changed the plates. I mean, I admit that you was doing a job just to get your boat back, pay your houseboat back. But still, what a waste of a good-looking car. Although some chase scenes, like a chase scene, like when Courtney Cox's character is getting chased by Costner's in old Dodge van and a Chevrolet Caprice, and Courtney driving his character in a Chevrolet Caprice, and then talk about some funny scene right before Costner jacked that ride, and when he was hanging out with that old guy who was going to some sports competition and jacked his ride, and thinking all drunk and being all annoying with an air horn. Oh, that one was funny. And of course, another epic. And of course, back to the scene confrontation when Costner before he meets John Lovitz, he was the launder money. God, how eccentric and underrated of a comedian and comedy actor at Lovitz is, which I got some future reviews for some of his stuff. And of course, Ice-T as Hamilton, who was technically Black Rambo, and the mob boss goes, "Oh, he's a bunch of different guys." Overall, a 5 out of 5 is what I give for Free Falls Miles to Graceland. It's great for your action junkies or just fans of Elvis culture. And of course, I could go back to the beginning of the movie where the opening sequence has to do with like a CGI scorpion fight, and that just looked like something out of Beast Wars. And of course, the beginning of the scene when Russell and Costner meet up to plan the job, and they're just cruising around around the desert in a Lincoln Continental, and that's one badass ride. And old funny line of the whole mythical fight between Sinatra and Elvis. And oh, how butthurt old Costner's character got just by saying the king is down. He was like, the king ain't down. Don't you dare say that. Overall, back to what I was saying, a 5 out of 5. Enjoy, people.